5:30 with Russ Froese and Cheryl Josephson.
Good evening. Cheryl has the night off. Tonight, 4 are dead after a helicopter crashes into a lake near Victoria. And Greenpeace takes on the 7th Fleet. And the race for Oak Bay, it's the midway point in the by-election campaign. We'll find out what the voters think. But first, a group of Greenpeace protesters got a little more than they bargained for today out in the Atlantic off the Florida coast. They were there for one of their many confrontation protests, this one against the test launch of the Trident II missile from a submerged submarine. But this time, the U.S. Navy was a little more forceful than usual.
It was a lopsided battle on the high seas. The Navy first used water cannon to muscle Greenpeace, the environmental activist group, away from the test launch of a Trident missile 50 miles east of Cape Canaveral. When water cannon and radio warnings failed to keep the protesters' 190-foot tugboat out of the launch safety zone, the Navy salvage ship, USS Grasp, rammed the MV Greenpeace, poking a 3-foot hole above the waterline. The Navy said the ship had been given fair warning, and Greenpeace expected trouble. It even had a camera along to take these pictures. Greenpeace, whose worldwide daredevil protests against nuclear weapons have led to the death of one of its members, said the Navy was trying to sink the ship.
It was a very violent, aggressive, and you could probably even call it a terrorist act.
During the incident, protesters in rubber rafts tried to reach the Trident submarine to stop the missile test and attach banners to the mast. They were turned away by Navy patrols. In July, Greenpeace succeeded in stopping a test flight from the same submarine, the USS Tennessee.
My objective was to use the minimum force possible to keep them clear of the Trident 2D5 launch.
The Navy has had enough trouble with the Trident missile without Greenpeace. 2 of the first 3 launches failed. Today's test flight succeeded 4 hours after the protest was turned back.
Locally, a helicopter disaster will be bringing you that just as soon as the tape is ready. In Czechoslovakia today, a new government was appointed on the weekend, but the people were having none of it. Today, the streets were once again filled with the sounds of protest, and again, there is the threat of yet another general strike unless things change, and fast.
Resign. 250,000 people shouted that word at the new Czechoslovak government tonight. The cabinet has 15 Communist Party members and only 5 non-communists. Speaker after speaker threatened if the government did not change, there would be another general strike Monday. This soon became a political rally for Civic Forum, the coalition of dissident groups. There had been a debate within Civic Forum since it was organized a few weeks ago about becoming directly involved in politics, running for elective office. That issue has been resolved. Václav Mali, a Jesuit priest banned from the pulpit by the government because of his political sermons, said there will be Civic Forum candidates. When he demanded free elections by July, the crowd responded, "Power is unity." The Communist Party fears that unity. A secret party document leaked today provides guidelines on how to divide the people, young and old, intellectuals and workers. But tonight, they were together again.
We didn't know before if people are willing to come, and they came, and they clearly expressed they want changes.
There was another example of unity tonight. A singer exiled for 20 years joined the once non-political pop star of middle-class matrons to lead the national anthem. The Czechs say this is proof that every strata of society now speaks with one voice, demanding change.
There's growing anger in East Germany tonight, and some of it may be spiraling out of control. Dozens of angry protesters have broken into security police headquarters in Leipzig. They're led by lawyers, and they want police to hand over the evidence of high-level Communist Party corruption. Before the attack on the police building, 200,000 people filled the streets in Leipzig. Demonstrations like this forced the entire East German Politburo to resign this weekend. The people in the streets have been getting a look at luxury houses and warehouses full of consumer goods. Their leaders had them, they did not. 25 communist reformers have been chosen to clean up the mess and run the country, but protesters want the entire Communist Party to disband. There's a new twist on Vancouver's rental housing shortage tonight. A developer who wants to build rental apartments says he can't get anywhere with City Hall. And his plans are for Kerrisdale, where dozens of old apartments have been torn down and longtime residents forced to move. Julia Foy has the story.
Scenes like this in Kerrisdale have become a familiar sight around Vancouver in recent months as dozens of rental units and old homes are torn down, so high-priced condominiums can go up. Residents have blamed both developers and City Hall for changing the face of the city with little consideration for the people who live here. However, over at 41st and Maple Street, a developer wants to demolish these 5 houses, and residents think it's a good idea because the proposal is for a rental apartment.
It's our target to keep a 1-bedroom apartment under $750 per month and a 2-bedroom under $1,000. So what we've shown on our drawings is 55 apartments, 40 1-bedrooms, 16 2-bedrooms. The building is a 4-story building, which is consistent with the rest of the block down here.
Since half of the block is already covered with apartments, nearby residents think the proposal should go ahead, even those who are losing their homes in the deal.
I also work in the area, so it's not as a resident, but also as a community, because a worker that I'm interested in the actual development. It will give the area more suites, more than they had before.
Concerned Citizens for Affordable Housing, the group which has been protesting the demolitions in Kerrisdale, is also very supportive of this plan.
Council should be expediting this, and they have the powers to do this. In the latest provincial budget, a municipality will get up to $2,500 grant for each rental unit that they create in the municipality. So they should be putting this zoning through as fast as possible. And if they're not, I think they're mismanaging the whole planning effort here in Vancouver.
Mismanagement of the Kerrisdale project is being blamed on a policy adopted back in 1980, which restricts property in Kerrisdale from being rezoned from single-family residential to multifamily units. Council brought in the policy to protect residents from massive change in their community. Alderman Jonathan Baker thinks it's time to throw out the policy, but when it came before the Planning Committee on Thursday, it didn't happen.
Well, all the developer was asking at this point is not the right to go ahead and build. He wanted the right to go ahead and file his application to rezone. And so we should have simply said, sure, give us the paper that's necessary to rezone, then eventually we'll go to a public hearing, and then we'll decide whether to let you rezone or not. Instead, they decided more or less to do a study and have a report on whether we should let the guy file the paper to rezone. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And as I say, it's like the Russian bureaucracy. It's like swimming through glue.
Council has been repeatedly criticized for letting rental apartments in Kerrisdale be destroyed, but it will likely be criticized even more if it stops apartment buildings from being built.
When we return, disaster in Victoria. 4 people die in a helicopter crash.
Ooh, it tastes spicy, ooey good. And pizza at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut and nothing but sloppy, slippy, hot and drippy, ooey good. Pan pizza.
Oh, Canada. It's our Canadian pan pizza with bacon, pepperoni, and mushrooms. And now a medium specially priced at only $9.99. So hurry down to
Pizza Hut and nothing but.
Corning's see-through Vision saucepan withstands heat that turns ordinary saucepans into sauce. Best of all, it lets you see your meal before it's all over. Visions by Corning. It's a visibly superior gift.
Look what's cooking from Corningware. Beautiful patterns for your microwave. There's peach floral.
Lovely.
French white.
Classy.
Shadow iris.
Stunning.
Beautiful patterns from Corningware. It's a different look to cooking.
Love it.
I'm always suspicious of doctors. The last one I went to put leeches all over my body, and he was a psychiatrist. I give the medical profession a checkup on the next Out of My Mind.